This is who we've been the last couple of years. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Like, it depends. We can put a lot of guys back there. Just depends on what call we want to go with, how we want to rotate, and what guys gives us the best chance to win.
Coach Combs was really talking to you about Matt. He was saying that you guys are like perfect partners. He feels like you can get the guys ready, like fired up, and you're kind of the technician. Can you speak more about that? How you and Coach Combs make a good team?
Yeah, I think it's good yin and yang. Kerry does an unbelievable job, and I feel fortunate to be able to assist and kind of focus on the day to day and the details and things like that, which frees him up to have a little bit more time to focus on bigger picture things and coordinating the whole defense. So it's been awesome. I've learned a ton from Kerry and really enjoy my role.
Matt, when you talk about getting more speed in that secondary, is that where the bullet factors in? I know we probably all talked about that position a lot the last few years. And it seems like it might actually feature more this year. Is that what you're referencing there with that speed being on field?
Yeah, I think if you go back, and maybe not as many snaps as some other times, but if you go back to 19 and 20, there were times where we were playing 5 defensive backs on the field. So that's nothing new to us. And again, it'll be game to game, week to week. What gives us the best chance to win? In some cases, playing with 3 linebackers on the field, and if you go back, and sometimes we had 4 linebackers on the field. So it's week to week. It's by game plan. It's what we think the matchups are, how we think we can make a team left-handed, and we go from there.
If you have a week where the bullet factors in more, what is it that you guys want to see in that position? What does it take to play there?
Same thing with every other position. Great question, but effort, technique, and execution.
Now, Bullet is a hybrid linebacker. Good, good. So we heard a lot about Court Williams from leadership and management standpoint. What is he doing as a football player right now, and how close is he to being able to help you on the field?
Court's worked his butt off. I mean, he's the most diligent guy I've ever met. He's played well in some scrimmages, and he looks great. Excited for Court.
And the Bullet is a hybrid linebacker safety, but I noticed that guys like Craig Young and Ronnie Hickman, they work with the safeties and you guys break apart. Is that correct? What's the reasoning behind that with them kind of a hybrid role?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it's just what are we trying to get accomplished in that period? There are times when those guys that you mentioned will go down and do run fits with the linebackers and D line. There's times when they go do more coverage things. There's time when I take the linebackers. There's times when I have Tommy Eichenberg, Cody Simon, Dallas Gant. And there's times where Coach Walsh has the back end guys. It's just what are we trying to get done in that period, and what's the most efficient way to do it.
Man, I just walked up with you have a depth chart this long with your 2 safety spots, and it's sort of who are like maybe the 6 guys you intend to play back there, at least in the open.
Well, we intend to play more than 6. We want to play as many guys as are ready to play. So, do we have a set depth chart at this time? We don't. We're going to continue to evaluate to get the best guys on the field up until the time the foot hits the ball, and we'll continue that evaluation throughout the game.
But just give us a feel for is Josh Proctor a leader back there? What have you seen out of him?
Well, he's an older guy. I mean, how much is he going to play? I mean, that remains to be seen and those types of things. Has he been a leader? He's definitely matured a great deal since the first day I met Josh, and we're very proud of him for that.
Matt, what do you call the position person who covers the slot receiver?
Cover safety.
When we see, if Lathan, tell me if I'm wrong. Lathan Ransom seems like a guy who works in there. Marcus Williamson, Cam Martinez. Are they viewed all the same, or do they do any sort of different things when they're on the field?
That's a great question. We're very concept and technique oriented. So we teach the whole. So I can play a corner in the slot. I can play a traditional safety in the slot. So yes, sometimes those guys that you mentioned go cover in the slot, and sometimes those guys play in the post, and sometimes those guys play a third, and sometimes they play different things. So again, we're concept and technique oriented, so we're less concerned with which Jimmy and Joe is there right now. It's more, we're kind of more X's and O's right now. It's kind of this concept at this time. Hey, why don't we get so and so some reps there? We've seen what it looks like from last year, and in a COVID era and with injuries, guys had to be flexible and play different positions. So to say that we're going to lock a guy in, we're going to pigeonhole somebody into a certain position at this point, we're really not ready to do that.
I'm just making sure we don't sound stupid when we're talking about this.
Cover safety. Cover safety.
And I mean, when you look at someone again like Lathan Ransom as a football player versus Cam Martinez as a football player, they can do similar things. They also seem to have different skill sets, but they might be lined up in the same place matchup wise, the team.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. You hit it on the head. 100%. Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You got it.
Matt, what kind of impact has Paul Rose made on you?
Paul's been tremendous. He's been an unbelievable help to me. We wish that we were able to get him to do some things on the field, but unfortunately, we were not able to do so. But he's been a valuable resource for me. He's an encyclopedia of football knowledge. I think one of my biggest strengths as a coach is I have a low ego. I realize that there are many things I don't know. So when Paul tells me something, I generally go do it. But he's had a tremendously positive impact on myself, and then through me on our room.
When you're on a recruiting trail, you have to be kind of that specific of what they should be watching, whether it's cover safety, slot, outside, free safety.
In some instances, we're specific, and we always have targeted some body types and skill sets. But let's just. I mean, I could give you a ton of examples, but what we anticipated using Lathan Ransom as when he came in is much different than what we're actually using him as. So you have to be flexible. You have to understand that. Again, if you pigeonhole somebody as a 17-year-old, I don't think that's the right move to make. I think you got to see what they can do. I think you have to see what your needs are, what they do best, and how you can put them in the defensive position to be successful.
What did you play with?
Kind of speak on, that guy got here in the summer and he's playing the Big Ten championship game. Circumstance. Can you just kind of speak on what he was able to do for Lathan?
Lathan.
What he was able to do for you guys late in the season, given how he got. He didn't have anything more going on.
Yeah, if you watched Lathan's high school film, he was more, deep player, a deep field oriented, middle field safety, and those types of things. He ended up being a much better cover player than we anticipated. And if you go back and watch, now I would expect to see Lathan all over the field this year, but if you go back to the Clemson game, you saw him mostly covering in the slot, and that was something that we were not necessarily anticipating him doing at such a high level.
Basically, you expected him to be more of a high safety, but you become a cover safety.
Yeah, again, that's one thing that we didn't anticipate him doing that well, that he does very well. But I would expect to see him all over the field.
Last year, it seemed like you knew who your main experienced guys were, but there was a lot of question about the depth, mostly because of COVID being unable to coach up those younger guys. This year, the impression we get from Ryan is you guys feel good about the depth. There's a lot of guys in the mix, but maybe there's not much certainty at the top. Is that accurate? Do you have more guys in the pool to play, but you're not sure who's going to be?
Well, I think we've got at every position we've got multiple guys that we feel really good about. So, it's a long season. It's a physical season. The nature of college football has changed, in the course of the last 10 or more years, where 60 plays used to be a lot of plays. Now 90 plays is a lot of plays. So you're really playing a game and a third. And over the course of a season, as you play 12 games and then hopefully a conference championship game, and then who knows from there. There are plenty of reps that go around. So yeah, I think we have a lot of guys that we feel confident at different positions, at multiple positions. We feel like we've got a lot of guys that we feel have a great deal of confidence in, and that will afford us to play a variety of players.
I'm sure the pass defense last year struggled. It's not all because of backs and support, but how confident are you that the pass defense will better? Your guys will play better this year.
Yeah, we feel very confident. We're not going to shy away from the fact that we didn't play our best football, particularly in the back end last year. We're going to use that to motivate us, and that's something that's remained. I don't know if it's been in the back of our minds, maybe it's been in the front of our minds, and that's something that you can either, kind of make excuses, or you can own up to it and figure out what you can do a better job of, and use it as a motivator to get better.
When you look at it, how much of it was, that is a legitimate reason, not just not as much, whatever other issue, or how much was we just didn't play on that?
We don't want to make excuses. Obviously, there were some extenuating circumstances last year, and COVID made it hard to develop young players and guys that were maybe making position changes that needed I don't know if people really realize how important a full spring ball and then a chance to make corrections after spring ball and have a chance to work on some things over the summer, and then have a chance to really polish those things into summer camp. I don't know if unless you're in it, if you can fully appreciate how important that is. So.
One question about Marcus Hooper, he's back. Do you sense in him, I've got to take advantage of a second chance, and how's he been?
Hooker's been great. Yeah, he's been great. He's been amongst a ton of guys that have done a really good job for us. You guys mentioned Josh Proctor and Bryson Shaw's and other guys played really well. Marcus Hooker, and then Marcus Williamson, Lathan Ransom, Cam Martinez. All those guys. We've had a ton of guys. Again, somebody asked that question earlier. Do you have more? We have more. We have a lot of guys. We got a lot of guys playing at a high level right now. So we'll see who kind of separates over the course of the next week or so, who can really be locked in and detailed on the game plan and feel like give us the best chance to execute Thursday night.
How are the true freshman safeties doing? I know you guys lost Jalen Johnson, but Andre Turrentine and Jansen Dunn, what do you expect out of them this year, maybe special teams wise, and how are they doing so far?
Yeah, it's a great group. It really is. The young safeties, young corners. It's a great group. They're exciting. They've got a lot of ability. They are learning to be more and more detailed as we go. Flying around. They really care. High give a crap factor. Let's go with that. But a fun group to coach. Yeah.
Now, how far along is Cam as far as his development? Speaking of the guys that lost a lot of time, COVID,
Martinez.
yeah, switching positions, all those
Yeah.
things. I mean, how far along has he come, and how much further do you think he has to go to be a regular contributing member of the secondary?
That's a great question. Yeah. If you know Cam, you know what a hard worker he is and what a detailed young man he is. Don't be surprised if you look up 20 years from now and Cam Martinez is the president of the United States or something. I mean, he's unbelievable. I wouldn't put anything past him. He's developed extremely fast through this. Now, it wasn't overnight, but just because of how hard he worked. And if you go back to last January, he was most improved in the weight room, and he carried that work. He's just a grinder, man. He just gets after it every day, and he's developed. The fun thing about guys that don't have a ton of defensive experience, whether it's Demario McCall at corner or Cam Martinez at safety, they don't know anything better other than just to do what you tell them to do. So you tell them what to do, and that's the way they do it, because otherwise they have no idea what they're doing. So they pick the techniques up quickly. They work really hard at it. Cam's played exceptionally well. Very excited for him.
A couple more questions for Coach here. Does he keep pointing to that highlight?
Yeah. Maybe we need to go back and rewatch that, because he was dynamite. He was a touchdown every time he touched the ball in high school. So great question for Coach Fleming, though.
Does knowing that you're going to be opening with a team that not only on the road but a senior quarterback, seen a lot, done a lot, does that impact how you go about forming that first depth chart?
Yeah, absolutely. As much as anything, it impacts our urgency in everything that we do. I mean, that is an extremely well-coached football team. That is a very talented veteran football team that plays hard. They do the little things right. We will have our work cut out for us. So it's I don't know how much it's affected the depth chart, other than to say it's certainly affected our urgency and how quickly we need to improve and execute.
Now, when we talk about that cover safety spot, I know that guy's got to have a lot of skills there. Could you just talk about the balance there of the ability to maybe cover a slot guy man-to-man, the ability to play the run, blitz at times, do different things? How do you balance the skills you're looking for at that position?
Yeah, again, we really are. We'd like to be as multiple as we can be. So we're really, again, concept and technique oriented across the whole safety or the whole defensive backfield position. So, they've got to be able to do all those things. How do you balance it? I don't know. If you got a great recipe, I'd love to see it. But it's you try to teach them the techniques you want. You try to show them where maybe something that they're doing on kickoff might carry over to how they can blitz, and you try to make as much carryover in the learning and the concepts and techniques as you can.
When you play those cover safety guys kind of walked up the way you do, and they have run fits, like how have guys like Marcus and Cam, who are maybe a little smaller than like Sean, who played at City Hall for years ago, kind of handle that responsibility?
They've been great, because again, those are for what those guys lack in size, they make up for in technique and effort and toughness. And when you're a safety, what you're giving up in height and weight, you're gaining in quickness and ability to maybe let's say play around a block, but kind of navigate a block in a different way that a 6'3", 240-pound linebacker would.
Is there interchangeability between the cover safety, Bullet, and teams of those guys being able to do similar things?
Everybody on our defense is interchangeable. Yeah, and again, that's why we're so concept and technique oriented. So we're going to be in constant pursuit of getting the best players on the field. And again, I think the last thing we can do is pigeonhole players into very specific roles. But if we can teach them all how to play man, how to play zone, how to blitz, how to tackle, how to block the feet, then we'll have a chance to be pretty good.
So just because a guy, Lathan Ransom's playing cover safety, Ronnie Hickman playing Bullet, those guys could move between spots if it gets the best guys on the field?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Coach, thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.